That's bonsai? We're not out on the water. Whoa, this table is crazy. So I want to give you a quick rundown on the baits that I used yesterday to catch the bass. One video is already out. That's our early morning. We decided to try topwater. Well, I decided to try this bait right here actually and see just how it worked. You know, it's the first time I'm out on the water with it. And what do you know? The bass are actually hitting topwater bait. So that bait right there seems to be made pretty good, works good, definitely catches fish. AliExpress bait. I want to say it's $3 or $4, but then as you saw in that video, Charles, he had seen me buy these towards the end of last season, and so he bought a few. He put one on and just started tearing them up on the John Koo. I call it the micro whopper plopper, but they don't call it that on the deal. But all these baits that I'm gonna, if I say they're from AliExpress, they're not that hard to find. I have shared links to like all these when I did unboxings or at some other time. If you absolutely can't find it on AliExpress, comment below this video and I will put the link then, but I'm not going to go through and put all the links to all these because most of you should know how to get most of these, and if not, on my channel, just my channel alone, I know I've linked I think everything that's from AliExpress. But real quick on this bait, if you don't know anything about it and you want one, John Koo Whopper Plopper, you will want to rig up a swivel. I've bought 3 of them and I rig swivels up on all of them so I can just snap or tie directly to the swivel. It's already on there. It keeps it from line twist, because when you start reeling faster, this will twirl and twist your line. The only other downside I found to these, because I had so many, you know, I've got so many baits per space in my box that I actually had these stuffed in there, and I had to keep bending this back to the way it should be because in the box it was stuffed like shut. So it worked fine, but if you just store it without it getting smashed, you won't have that issue. Kind of with any bait, it's not really this bait's problem. It's my problem in my storage. So you'll see that in the video too. I commented about it. And then coming up in no various order that I'm going to show you these baits, you'll see kind of as the day progressed, I'll have a few different videos. The next one is chatterbaits, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to give a real quick shout out to Big A's, Charles Buddy. That is a bait he makes, and I did catch 1 or 2 on this thing. So I told Charles, and you'll see in the video, I'm like, that's going to catch fish for sure. And so I tried it. Probably shouldn't have used the red head, but that's what I had close when I grabbed. The water was clear enough. I probably didn't need that red head. If anything, it may have actually hurt. But we did catch a fish on this bait also. So shout out to Big A's. On Facebook, I don't know if he's actually taking orders right now. He makes a lot of baits and is pretty busy making them. So before I go to my other baits, here's a bait that Charles was using, and you'll see in upcoming videos. His main producer was this little dude from AliExpress, or I think on Wish is where he may have got his. And he bought like a whole 5 or 6 pack. I just bought a couple a few years ago. And I'll be honest, I don't even remember ever throwing them. I think I may have thrown them once or twice. But as you might see in the video, I can't remember a video coming up, I caught a bass and it spit out a little fish that was almost identical to the size of this. And I'm like, that's why that bait's working so good, Charles, because he caught, I think the majority of his bass, he caught them on a lot of different things, but I think the majority of his bass came on a little bait just like this in a bluegill color. They do have several different, you know, colors available. And that was one I think I bought this bait like last year. Anyway, it's not even in my box. I had it over here to make some room, but I may put it back in my box or I may give it to Charles. I don't know. So I'll jump real quick to the bait that I did my most damage on and gave me the most frustration. That is a Berkley Underspin. I think that's the 1/4 ounce. But I don't know if they're designed funny or what. This is the second one. I actually, I don't know if you can see that barb. Try to get to focus. See that barb? I feel it's not a good enough barb. This one didn't seem to have an issue, but the other one, I had a new one that I was using. This is the same bait that I used all day long, which I actually like that. Bass Assassin. I got up at Rogers Sporting Goods, but man, they were attacking this thing. And this thing actually has a little chartreuse by accident. I had it laying with another bait and it just bled into it. But that little sucker, and if you remember right, I had it on at the end of last season on a little 1/8 ounce micro chatterbait head and was tearing them up on it too in cold water. So that is a cold water beast. But we had it on the underspin, and the new one, I kept losing fish. Like, I couldn't explain it. Like, it was so frustrating. I got, I don't know how many hits. I know I lost probably 5 to 6 fish, if not more, but I probably caught over 20 bass just on that bait. But I tried to bend the barb up on the new one, and I actually broke it off. So I dug in the box, and I had this old one. And then I don't know if I lost another fish after that. Once I, felt them on. We did have a few short strikes. You'd have them like just bumping it, and then nothing would be there. So at times during the day, the bite was off. But that little Berkley, or probably any underspin, because I did catch a few on that underspin also. But I think more than this being a Berkley underspin that made the difference, I think it's the fact that this, whatever color that is, and it's a midnight something or another in the Bass Assassin, but it's just got like a bluish purple on its back side on the top, and then that sparkly, glittery stuff kind of molded in. And then mine had a little bit of chartreuse. I don't know if that actually helped because it's pretty clear water. But that bait was on fire. These two baits really, this one here Charles was using, and that one, we probably half or 3/4 of the fish came on just those two baits. But then all these other baits did produce pretty good at certain times. So I actually tried, if you guys remember, the Proberos bait, that yellow one that I've done so well in the cold water. I tried it briefly early on, and then I realized that that's just too bright of a color for the clear, as clear the water was. So I pulled this one out, and I'd done it earlier because I knew I didn't want as much orange. I want orange on the belly. I wanted a more, subtle, and I probably should even clean more orange off. But that bait right there, I did pretty good with it too. And just showing that the Proberos, those $2 square bills, they're like my favorite square bill right now. So let me stick with the crankbaits. Then there came to a point where I felt like everything, there wasn't as shallow as they had been on most of these other baits, so I wanted to go deeper. And, when you're wanting to go to that, like, what is it, 8 to however many feet or whatever, like, how can you go wrong with one of the old original wiggle warts? Now, the new ones they claim aren't as good, and I really don't know. I don't throw wiggle warts a ton. I know when I do, I usually try to grab one of my old ones first, and this was more like a natural color, almost the same color that little fish we saw spit out. So did pretty good on that bait also, you'll see in the videos. And then this was one of my resorts when I realized I didn't really have anything to match Charles as this one. I knew I had this one at home. But see that old Bagley's? I believe that is a balsa bait. I picked up a few of these old ones that I'd watched somebody on, posting pictures on a Facebook group, and I thought they looked cool, these old Bagleys. So I picked up a couple bass ones, and then whatever that is supposed to be, crappie or bluegill or what, I don't know. And that actually was working pretty good also. And I think just by this, how they're made, I think this was getting a little deeper and it's a little bit bigger. I don't know if that actually helped or hurt it, but I used it for a while, caught some fish. I did break out my little bitty underspins. That's a Meredith bait, swim bait on just a Bass Pro Shops. You can buy these in bundles with the white heads. I can't get any other colors than white. So I paint the heads with the Sharpie black, and this one you can tell is like faded already off, and it's kind of got a bluish purple tint to it. And that was just working. I didn't throw it a ton, but when I did throw it, I would catch a fish. So it was working pretty good, and I threw it on the Joker and the Rock and Roll is what I was throwing that on. I guess I should have talked about what I was throwing them on. I don't even know if I remember on all of them, but I was throwing this on the Rainy Stream, that expensive AliExpress rod with the ASC Airstream Custom, and that thing will fling, you throw almost all the line off, no problem with that. And the streamer with the Corrado BFS is what I was throwing the topwater baits on. This guy I was throwing, I think I threw, I don't remember, but I know I threw the Zillion on the filling rod is what my main. I was throwing this, and I was getting frustrated. I even switched the original new one before I gave up on it. I switched it to the Tatula rod, I switched to bait and was throwing it with the 13 Fishing, which I consider almost a medium heavy, thinking I wasn't getting good enough hook set. But what me and Charles came to realize, after I'd catch a few and I'd pull them in and the hook would just fall out. Like you could see it was in there and it would fall out. The certain spots of the fish's mouth, that was nowhere near enough of a barb to get the job done. And I think that's what was happening. I would hook them and then they would just shake it off. So anyway, so lastly, I want to talk about this bait. This is the one I think a lot of you guys have been curious about when I finally get out and try it. And you'll see it coming up in the video. It'll be coming up like midnight tonight, so you'll be able to watch it in the morning. The brief encounter I had while they were hitting this. Managed to catch, I don't know, quite a few in what is considered a deeper body of water. So we only had certain spots of shallow water that we'd already hit with topwater bait. So the chatterbait bite. But this was the only chatterbait. After a few other chatterbaits, this was the only one brand, that cheap AliExpress one for $3.50, that I was definitely catching some fish. It was working. I was using it on the filling rod also, had no issues. I was hooking them and it was staying hooked. I guess I'll try to show you if I can make out a comparison of the barbs. I can't really tell a huge difference. I don't know if that one freaking feather's in the way. Feather, that skirt, but just a little bit more sticking out. Definitely didn't have an issue with losing the few fish that I did get to hit this. So anyway, I definitely recommend all of these baits in that cold. It was 48-degree water temps, and that bait for sure was like going good, and so was that guy. But like I said, all the others, and if I probably would have just stuck to throwing, other than when the topwater bite kind of shut down, most all these others could have probably caught even more fish than we did. And there's so many fish, you'll see it in separate videos. And honestly, I ran out of GoPro batteries and the one SD card, so I didn't bother with putting the other SD card in. And we probably fished for another 2 or 3 hours, catching, I'd say, over 20 bass that you won't even see. There was no footage. We were just fishing, having fun. That's how good of a day it was. We were in a heck of a place to fish, and the bite was on. They were like, some of them were scrawny, some of them were fat, but they were like on their mood, you know, to start feeding up. So very awesome. So enough about the baits. I'll talk real quick about what I did and didn't like. The Joker on the rock and roll, I just didn't like that combo. I fished it briefly, and I like the rod and the reel. I don't like them together. I'm going to put the Joker back on a light rod, not a ultralight like the rock and roll. The Corrado BFS with the, well, here, let me get them as I'm talking about them. So this one was awesome. That Lure Star streamer with the Corrado BFS. Awesome combo that I definitely am keeping together, that I like throwing. But I'm going to try out now, since I put the Corrado BFS on that rod, I'm going to try the Joker out on this rod that I was originally going to leave with the Corrado BFS. So you'll see it coming up. And I fished this one I talked about. That's the rod and reel combo I was using with the little TRD. And yeah, it was way too big of, heavy of a bait for what this is capable of, but man, it throws it so well, and I'm impressed with that Alpha's reel. How smooth it casts and reels in. That is an awesome BFS. The line capacity throws you off. I had to run 6-pound test to get enough on, but I can get like 120 foot, and I can throw almost all of that off fishing, so it's pretty good. I don't even know if it made the video, but I did have this rigged up, and I plan on leaving it together. The Edo AI on the 661 Teton. This is just a good filling all-around combo. And of course, I didn't even make it out. The Dark Wolf Ultra and the Cast King Zephyr stayed home, but that combo kicked in, and how I talked about the Tatula rod with that lingual reel, right? The ultimate power BFS combo, right? Fanboys triggered. So I still am working on, because another one that I didn't like, this rod and the Zillion, I don't know, there's just something about it. I love this rod and I love the Zillion, but I don't. It's kind of like the Joker and the Rock and Roll. I had them together yesterday, and I'm gonna try to find something. I didn't like them together. So the 13 fishing rod, I do like it. I will probably end up putting a Zillion on this, so it'll get to its ultimate potential with that, for me anyway, with that SV boost spool. And then, so I'll probably, since nobody even was interested in the Black Knights, I'm probably pulling them back out instead of trying to sell them. And so I'll probably take the original Black Knight, which is the big one, and put it on that the Lure Star filling rod. And then lastly, we want to talk about, we got to say goodbye, and then I'm gonna get out of here, to a few. I lost both of my baits I was using, but I was catching bass on that Tatula and the Lingle combo with basically this kind of setup, an 1/8 or 1/16 ounce with a Zinkers. I had the spray grass is the one that I think I caught majority, if not all the fish, and I did have the purple haze rigged up, but I lost it, and the other one in a kind of a submerged tree. Long story, but anyway, they're gone. As far as, so that's why they're not out here, but that was the other bait that I caught fish on. So anyway, I had this reel on the 13 fishing rod, but then I made a deal with Charles. So this reel is going bye-bye. That's the parts off of the Lingle. If you guys remember right, we made the Gringle, then we made the Joker. So this is going to Charles. And it is probably the smoothest AliExpress reel I think I've ever had. The freest. They're all about the same smoothness, but probably the freest I've ever had. So Charles is buying it. Along with, we also are saying goodbye. I know some of you guys are going to hate to see it. That Charles wants this reel. So I made him a deal. I'm going to get the new Aldebaran BFS. I've sold off the only Shimano we'll have now is a Crotto BFS, and I'm not getting rid of it, well, anytime soon. You guys know me, I'm not a collector. It's time to move on to something else. So I'll probably get another Zillion. I'll probably put one Zillion on, like I said, my medium heavy rod that I'm using for 1/2 ounce baits, and then the other one with the BFS spool for the smaller stuff. But I'm going to take advantage of that boost spool and use it to its full potential, and that's one of the reasons. I still got this thing sitting over here, not even sure what rod I'm going to put it on. Haven't really got out and fished with it yet. And we've got the Aldebaran BFS. I will be getting one of those, and that's all upcoming. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there, let everybody get caught up on what's going on. We finally got out and fished, and man, we did catch a lot of fish. So be looking forward to those videos coming up. If I get any more rods, I may get, Jay had commented on it, the Karza 2. So you guys, if you want to look those up, I don't know anything about them. Jay has had one, I don't even remember how long he said, but the Karza 2 may be on my list next, along with the Major Craft fine tail. But if I get the fine tail, it'll probably be a 6-foot light and a 6'3" light on the Karza 2. Maybe I think they make a 6'6" medium light on the Karza for like $70. So I may get one or the other of those. And then I like this Lure Star streamer so much. There's an $85 rod. They make I think I got it, what do I have, a 5.82 is what I have. And I think they make a 5.52 ultralight. I have a light. So I may get an ultralight possibly to put this thing on. I haven't decided yet because I've got the other, I got the Teton 6 or 522 SUL. Still got the Rock and Roll that are just sitting there, ultralight and super ultralight rods that I don't even really have a reel for. I don't know what I'm going to do for sure. But don't be surprised if you see me with a couple Zillions like I talked about. If you see me with 2 reels of the same reel, that's probably a good indication that I really like them, like the Lingle. Dark Wolf Ultra may be in the future plans, another one of those. And I've got a couple Alphas, the older ones and one of the newer ones. So anyway, guys, I'm going to jump out of here, and I will talk to you later. Be watching for that video. It'll be out at like midnight, and watch it sometime tomorrow. And then I probably have 2 or 3 more videos coming just from yesterday's fishing this week, and then I don't know. It's looking like it's going to get another cold spell come in, so I probably won't be able to fish next weekend. So probably the weekend after that possibly. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Get out, go bass and bonsai, but whatever you do, make sure you have fun doing it. I'm out.